to these meetings and devices. But I would really like to know, and if you feel any type of sorrow, and if you do, would you please let her speak? Please, God. And if you do, would you please just let the residents know, with an apology standing up, that you do have regrets for doing that. Also, congratulations again, Ms. Mtg. Congratulations, best of luck, and God bless you. When it comes to the treasurer, I would really like to hear more reports coming from the treasurer, and also like to know who signs these checks, because there's a big confusion about who's making what, and if there are checks signed, logs, ledgers, auditing, it should be evident what each and every person made. Also, at the end of each meeting, I would like to hear a report coming from each and every one of the elected officials. Please, thank you for that. Also, if Ms. D. Jones do not mind, whenever she's giving any type of reports, we would like to hear you a little more clearly. We cannot hear in the back sometimes. All due respect to you. We'd just like to hear you a little bit more clearly. And if the microphones are not working properly, I suggest that you take a few pennies, or I'll donate that money to buy all new mics, so that we cannot have a problem each time one of you is speaking to tap to make sure it is working. Those things should be checked each and every time before a meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Okay, come on, Gloria. You've spoken. No, and Gloria, could you come on, please? And who else is coming? Else, because we have to end the village. We can't be here all night, and I respect everybody's comment, and we are scheduling a village hall meeting, so please come up, be cautious of everyone else, and make it limited to 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
I have a question for you.
This question and answers for her.
We have spoken about the people that's moved out to our village, and we do have a number of apartment complexes here where a lot of people with the vouchers that you spoke about have moved out into our village. Is there a way that you could somehow put pressure on the offices of these apartment complexes so that they can start monitoring better on who they allow to come in and rent the units of their apartment?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. So one of the things that's been a challenge when any community experiences an influx of voucher holders to the community is the monitoring and accountability for the either the developers or the owners of those apartment complexes to make sure that they have the appropriate screening processes in place that guide who is allowed to occupy those particular units. There have been a number of issues that I've seen in the weeks that I've been here, and I think one of the things that it calls for is for actually convening the owners of these apartment buildings to go over some guidelines that they may have been missing or may have had allowed to lapse. I think that's something that we have to do very soon because of some of the issues that have come across my desk, at least with regard to individuals living in those apartments. But we have to put pressure on them to do what they're supposed to do. If they are have voucher holders, there are guidelines that they have to abide by as far as how they screen, background checks, etc. Whether or not those owners are doing that is in question. And so for the village, it means we have to now convene and refresh them as to their responsibilities.
Hello, Ms. Mtg. It's a pleasure to speak with you once again. I'd like to first acknowledge you on your responses to everything, very eloquently spoken, detailed, and with vision. Excellent. That is what brought me to the mic today. When you stated vision, that is something that we hold on one accord. And so because it brought me to a different level, I see you on a different light, and I appreciate that. So it just so happens that Robinson Engineering is here tonight. And when Trustee Williams ran for election, she ran on an overpass, sideway pass, on Governors, what is that intersection, Stonko and, yes, Stonko and Governors. Okay, and so Robinson Engineering, we're asking for them to look for funding and different things of that nature for that, because there is a bottleneck. It will be a problem. There has been a death there with the train. And in order to have a better transportation system inside of University Park, where we can have better economic development is always car counts. Car counts are very important, and I know you understand where I'm at. Okay? So I'm just asking you for two things when you're sitting in that seat. Okay? The two things are to look into that, to find the funding for that. Governments, grants, however we can get that, because that opening up will allow more funds to come to University Park by way of rooftops, as well as economic development, as well as different businesses. It will also open up for the industrial park, because you'll have more car counts. You'll have more stores, you'll have more anchor stores, different things that will come to University Park just on that alone. And I'm sure Robinson Engineering can concur with that as well. Okay. The second thing is there was a grant that was going through, and I have to give credit to Mrs. Mary Trust, who taught me about this part. She took me to League of Women Voters, and we heard about a walk path, bike path that was to be funded inside, and it was grant monies, and we kept losing the monies and the grant monies, just like we lost the money that was for Cicero, and now it looks like we might be getting that back. But we kept losing these funds. If we can recapture these funds, individuals out here, I mean, you know, I'm not going to say just African Americans, but by nature, a lot of African Americans are obese. We have not put health as our first priority. And if we will instigate giving the people avenues in order to run and walk without hurting their ankles, falling, looking at the paths that are overgrown, they have to take walking sticks out and you know, they're falling and they're scared to walk because the grounds don't even support you to walk, let alone drive in University Park. So it's not just the car. So while we're looking into the funds that are for the streets and roads, if we can possibly look into the funds that are for the sidewalks, we have the sidewalk, but that will add on to the bike paths, as well as we had bike trails. We had bike trails in University Park and clubs that came to University Park, which brought more funds and more car counts. So I'm just going to ask you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We luckily had a really good, I've been able to work with Ernest from Robinson Engineers in these few weeks, and it's been a very productive relationship. One of the things that we're prioritizing is, within Public Works, prioritizing what the village wants in our capacity. It's definitely with the streets, with the potholes, and taking care of that issue, but also making the village more walkable, more bikeable, because that contributes to the quality of life. And it's something that we enjoy in other communities when you go to other forest preserves and walk in their paths, and we should be able to do that here. We have every resource and asset to do that here. So thank you for that.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to make it very brief. I had several things I wanted to say. Wanted to ask some questions for the manager. I mentioned briefly outside the meeting, please chief, and so I attempted to make a point to talk there.
Can't hear you.
I attempted to make a point to talk about it.
Can't hear you, Gloria. Can't hear you back here.
I'm over here. Anyways, I attempted to make an appointment. I was told that you have to talk to residents once a week on Mondays, and that we would have to do a phone number, email address, and all that just to speak with you. As a longtime resident here, and very, very active, I was very anxious to sit down and talk to you while they were attempting to negotiate your salary, or negotiate your contract. And I left a message, I left my phone number, my email address, everything you could think of 2 weeks ago, June 14th. I have yet to hear a response from you. Is there something wrong with the way, what is the process?
So that process was to make sure that all of the requests from residents are actually received. And so I did outline a specific protocol to make sure that when residents call, as opposed to writing something down on a Post-it note, they actually jot, the person who responds to that call jots down their name, email address, phone number, and other contact information. Because of the nature of this work for the first couple of weeks, it will be very difficult for me to do a slew of resident meetings. And so you are not alone in not having that one-on-one time. What I've done is I've set aside blocks of time, and right now it can only be it was only going to be either on Mondays or Fridays at a particular time because my schedule won't allow me to be haphazard about how I meet with residents. So that part is still in flux. Only being a month in, and because of the emergency nature of a lot of the things that need to be taken care of, I'm often in meetings or unable to meet and sit down with a large block of time for residents. And so part of my asking for a specific protocol for recording information is so that I have a log of residents who have requested to meet. And when we move into that phase where I can do regular meetings, I can reach back out and do those meetings.
Okay. I guess I want to stress, I understand you just came in, but I also know you had 5 village managers in 6 years. So it's very, very vital for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, they can sit down and talk with you, find out what direction is, what ideas and your thoughts are. Given the fact that you're always in that process, making sure you're managing any type of operations. So again, it was very complex for me. And in fact, I would have to log in like that. And I wasn't sure if you were there every day or not. Because I couldn't understand why I was not responding. Given the fact that you had this system set up, and this is your reason for setting up the system. So these people back on 2 weeks, should they be contacted and told this?
Yes, they will be, so I will actually take the time to reach back out to those who requested individual meetings with me. Part of the reason why I started this Q&A session was to make sure that people who did have pressing issues or wanted to address me but couldn't get in for a one-on-one had an opportunity to do so in this public space. So this Q&A session, which has not occurred with any of my predecessors, was my effort to make sure that even in the absence of a one-on-one meeting, you still have an opportunity to ask questions and hopefully get some resolution before we're in the phase where those meetings with residents are more consistent and more standard.
Yeah, and I would think that they could be like that. That's not an issue. Because there's nothing, I couldn't do a Q&A in a public meeting and discuss the things I want to discuss with you. So I'm just saying, I think initially, one-on-one, understanding your direction and everything, probably could later on be question here, question there. So again, all I need to know is why I spent time. And I would appreciate my call.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, Mr. Last, we have 2 more and that's it. Limit on our QA.
All right. First of all, let me say, Mayor and Board of Trustees, it was not my intent to try to interrupt the meeting. I thought I was speaking in a soft voice and just asked the young lady 2 questions. And I was, 1, you don't know me, and 2, if you like to ask me anything, I have no problem answering your questions. Item number 1. You've been here a month now, so you will have a better appreciation for the 2 questions that I'm about to ask you. What has been your experience working with boards, and what has been your experience working in training boards about parliamentary procedure and what they need to do? Those are my first 2 questions.
So I've worked with boards throughout my entire career. Pretty much I've worked in the nonprofit sector where I've had to manage up as well as manage down as an executive director. I've also worked with board trainings, and in fact the board training that we were establishing with this board is due in part to my experience in training boards, not just on parliamentary procedures, but also in helping to understand what the role and function of a legislative body is, helping to understand what the roles and responsibilities of staff are so that we're all on the same page. So I've actually had that experience throughout my career.
And as you've been here for a month, my question from that standpoint is a long-time resident here. Just want to ask you, you've been here for a month now. What do you see to be the 3 pressing issues in your next 60 days being in this city?
Thank you. The 3 most pressing issues, 1 is getting a handle on the financial situation. Obviously, the backlog of unpaid bills, developing fiscal protocols which are already in process and making sure that they're implemented with the finance department. That is probably one of the biggest issues to really stop the bleeding, if you will, in the village. The second issue is with regard to staffing and making sure that they are actually empowered to do what we're asking them to do. What I've impressed upon the staff is that the way we judge our success is by improvements to quality of life that the residents can see and feel. And so we have to make sure that our staff is empowered with policies within the departments that not only enhance their performance, but mitigate liabilities that we have, quite frankly, because of a lack of policies and procedures in all of these departments. So that's a major issue for us. The third issue is making sure that we're limiting our liabilities from an insurance standpoint. We have to do some risk abatement measures to make sure that anything that happens doesn't become a disaster to the village. But I think I'll add another one on there. In addition to just the fiscal and the budgetary addressing that issue, it is charting forward a path for a comprehensive revenue strategy, and what an economic development strategy looks like for the village. Essentially, what village do we want to build? Again, we have to concentrate on building something new, given what we have. And I have to make this clear, because simply because we say we want to move in a new direction doesn't mean that it will happen, unless we have the collective will of the people. And so we have to start thinking beyond our challenges and start thinking about what we want to build to bring economic development here. There are a number of quite frankly, exciting things that are going to be happening that will attract businesses, that will build better relationships with potential businesses that can come here, with small business owners, with making this a thriving downtown center. There's no reason why that shouldn't be the case. But we have to articulate that vision, and then we have to set about to building it. So those are, I think I named 5 things that I think need to be done in the next 60 days. We still try.
Okay, Ms.
Hello, there we go. Dr. Inya, I understand you've only been here for a month, is that correct? Yeah, pretty much. Okay, how much would you say in penny dollars, or in other ways, that you have saved this village within that time period? And you may have said this earlier, but I think it's worthy of being repeated.
I'm going to defer to the mayor on that one. It's been ongoing.
I can give you that. Well, I have looked, and I brought it to the last board meeting. We had, for 1 week, for one attorney, $6,700 for telephone calls and emails respondents. Before, we're not paying that anymore. We were paying, and no one at any time attacked. We're paying IRH $15,000 a month. And I think we found out there was a $120,000 agreement with them. So some of the things that they were doing, Amara has done. We are saving tax as far as insurance from her. We are saving IRMF from her, which totals $1,800. So with one attorney, not to mention she didn't have to go out, she saved the money as far as going with our insurance. She saved money as far as questioning, because with Ernest, for example, we always had to go to an attorney for this, and an attorney for a question, an attorney, and I saw the bills and I have the bills. I asked Cecilia to give them to me. And within a month, we mostly spend about $33,850 minimum. And since she's been here, we've knocked out basically all of that. And she's working with IRX to say that some of the things that they're doing, she's able to do that for us. We wouldn't have to pay Kankar, the attorney, for the bond, so that knocked that out. She didn't have to call attorneys. I have not gotten any attorney bills other than him doing the board agenda. We've only had our attorney one time on the board agenda. So the expenses of attorneys every day that we were getting, and monthly, we've saved quite a bit of money. Like I said, minimum $33,000.
Okay, so I understand the concern about her salary, but if I hear you correctly, it looks like she is well worth her pay. If within a month, you're telling me we're making this type of progress.
And to let you know, I can call her at 6 in the morning, I can call her at 5 in the morning, I can call her at 11 at night, I can call, she's on top of things before I can even think about it. I send her an email, it's done. And then she shares things with the board. But as the mayor, things that I'm receiving, things that I'm getting, I have to respond to her right away. Amara, I apologize, you need to look at this. Amara, I apologize. She does not have to refer to anyone. She doesn't have to go to a lawyer to look at anything. She doesn't have to ask anybody to read this and comprehend and see what this means. Proposals that we've gotten, she's been able to understand them and negotiate them. So that's been a lot of help.
Okay, and I want to move right along here because I don't want to hold you too long. Along with that, I was there at the last finance meeting. I understand we talk about the fact the University Park is in a crucial financial state. However, at the last meeting, my question was concerning TIFs. And we're looking at our deficits. However, it was said in not this, only this meeting, it was said at the last finance meeting, and what I'm going to say was said at the meeting before that there's a possibility we have made overpayments. So when we talk about deficits, something has went terribly wrong that we might have been paying people more regarding the tip that we're supposed to pay them. So I think that we need really qualified people that can go maybe find, if we do have any overpayments, that can go and find this money. We don't need rookies dealing with this, because this could be big money. Obviously, there is some experience here that within 1 month, this young lady was able to accomplish what she said she was able to accomplish. So I'm just saying that you get what you pay for. At this point, it looks like we got some money out there somewhere that we could be using and utilizing, and that would take care of her pay. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the record, when you talked about these attorneys and village managers, we have a village, and I'm not going to say they have about less than what we have, and their village manager is getting $200,000. Some village managers I know, and you should see these villages. Look at the surrounding villages. We're not the only one in debt. We're not the only one hurting, but we are trying to work with this woman, get behind her, encourage her. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about her ideas. I'm excited about the connections that she has that she's bringing to this village, and she's on top of it, and she really wants to work with the people and show the quality of life. So I'm excited about it. And I think she's
add one
valid.
thing, like this lady here added, and I'm really going to sit down after this. I'll be going out tomorrow on a consulting job in Joliet. I know my business, and I know when I go there that they're going to get well far beyond what they're paying for. But they're going to pay me what I'm worth because I know my business. And I know I'm going to bring them a quality product tomorrow. So I'm not going to accept anything less than my value because they are going to be able to use my knowledge to piggyback off of that to spiral their school forward. And it could possibly bring in more money for their program. So yes, I believe in paying people what they're worth, especially when at the end of the road, we're not at the end of the road, we're only at 1 month. And it's already showing progress, propelling at a quick pace. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for your answer. We're going to go now to unfinished business. Resolution of the Village of University Park, Will of Cook County, Illinois, authorizing the execution of an agreement between the Village of University Park and Amara Inya, a series of village manager. I'm sorry, but at this time we would have to table this and go to executive session and come out of executive session. But not now. We're going to still handle our business. Okay? Is there a motion to table this until executive session? We're not going to end the meeting until we finish the item.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Milton Pace, second. Myself, second. Thank you. New business first, second, and third. A roll call, I'm sorry.
Both sides. Aye. Aye. Both sides.
Aye. Thank you. First, second, and third reading ordinance adopting the prevailing wages rates to be paid to laborers, mechanics, and other workers performing construction of public works for the Village of University Park. Is there a motion? Moved by trustee Wilson, second. Second by trustee Oscar Brown. Questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Brooks.
Both sides.
Trustee McMullen.
Aye.
Trustee Page.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Mayor Snyder.
Aye.
Madam Mayor, that's ordinance 2017-14.
Thank you. Motion to approve the appointment of Mr. William Hooks to the Board of the Fire Police Commission for the partial term that shall expire on June 26, 2019.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Brooks, second.
Second.
By trustee Oscar Brown. Roll call.
Trustee Williams. Wilson. Trustee Brooks.
Both sides.
Trustee McMillan.
Side.
Trustee Davis.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
And Mayor Cummings.
Votes aye. And since Mr.
He is here.
You can be sworn in at this time as well. Okay. Commission, come up, please.
I, William Brooks, having been duly appointed to the office of Fire and Police Commissioner in the Village of University Park, counties of Will and Cook, Illinois, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner according to the best of my ability. Congratulations. office of Fire and Police Commissioner in the village of Councilman Will. Yes, he is. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner according to the best of
Past commissioners, I need those badges. Thank you. I appreciate your efforts. We're still in session, please. Appreciate your efforts and your sacrifices and your families. God bless. Thank you. This time, we will have reports from the mayor, board, clerks, trustees, and appointed officials and committees. Any reports from the committees first? Are there any? Okay, any reports from elected officials? Oh, gee, I'm sorry. We're still in session, please. Okay, any reports? I mean, still have reports. At this time, well, I have a report. I don't know if you've noticed that on our website, please look at our website. There are some job availabilities in Industrial Park. Just a second, and I will let you know about that. June 10th, Balmoral Park had a ribbon cutting and treat.